airplanes are means of transportation of people, cargo, and fighting in wars. When we look up into the sky and see a plane, we don't think about it much and just walk on. Planes are just a normal, everyday thing, like a ship, car, or train. The Wright brothers gave us the birth of the plane, and in this video, we will discuss how the airplane came to be. I read the book, The Wright Brothers, How They Invented the Airplane by Russell Friedman, and learned about their life story, and this is it. Wilbur Wright was born in Millville, Indiana on April 16, 1867. The Wright family moved to Dayton, Ohio, and Orville was born on August 19, 1871. Their father, a Brethren minister, loved to buy the boys mechanical toys, which they would take apart and put back together again while improving it in some way. As they grew into their late teens and early 20s, they published a weekly newspaper called the West Side News. Their paper, that was published for a year, could not keep up with the local Dayton paper, so they stopped. The men now found a new hobby with bicycles in 1892 and opened a bike shop in Dayton. They also found a love for photography and had their own darkroom in the back of the shop. By 1899, they now thought of something new, building a flying machine. At this time, a man named Otto Leonthal had built 16 hang gliders. The Wrights took his ideas and put it into their own work on a flying machine. The men needed a workplace with wind and open space. They chose the beaches of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The two men studied aerodynamics, or the basics of how an airplane stays in the air, like lift, airfoil, and drag. The men experimented and found success and failure. The men wanted to create a powered flying machine. They needed to add horsepower and propellers. By 1903, they did just that. They called it the Flyer. Their ground crew were the men of the U.S. Life-Saving Station at Kill Devil Hills, 1 mile north of Kitty Hawk. The plane flew for 3.5 seconds and smashed into the sand. They repaired it and tried again 3 days later. The next flight lasted 12 seconds, but it was known as the world's first powered flight. After 4 flights that day, the fourth one lasted 57 seconds. By 1905, they had designed a plane that would stay in the air for 39 minutes. Soon, they made changes and designed a plane for 2 passengers. By 1908, 60 people had flown in the air with planes created by the Wright brothers. Hartlow Berg was the first woman to fly in an airplane. But disaster struck on September 7, 1908, when Orville was doing tests for the Army. Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge was killed when riding on the passenger side next to Orville when the right propeller hit bracing wire and cracked. Other than that one accident, the Wright brothers were becoming internationally famous. The U.S. Army was interested in their plane that could stay aloft for over an hour, and they offered to pay $25,000 for it and made a bonus of $2,500 if it could go over 40 miles per hour. By 1910, the Wrights designed a plane that could go over 80 miles per hour called the Wright Baby Grand Racer. In 1912, tragedy came on, and on May 30th, Wilbur Wright passed away and died of typhoid fever. He was 45. At home, the world stopped in Dayton in mourn. Orville went on and he retired in 1918, but witnessed his work in 2 world wars. He finally died January 30th, 1948, of a heart attack. The work of the Wright brothers was amazing, and without them, would we have won 2 world wars, gone into space, or lived the lives we live today? These 2 men have proven themselves to be real American heroes, and their excellent work, giving us the birth of flight, will never be forgotten.